anyone watching this should be able to take away something from this video, but if you're someone who doesn't like to talk about depression and suicide because it makes you uncomfortable or because it makes you upset or you don't understand it, then this video was made particularly with you in mind. Hi guys, welcome back to Haley's Comment. Today's video is going to be a bit less upbeat than the rest of my videos have been so far. If you haven't heard, 2 major celebrities ended their lives this past week. I've been planning to do a video on depression and suicide at some point in my channel's life anyway, and I figure now is the time. Unfortunately, people who don't struggle with mental illness only seem to care about depression and suicide for a brief window in time after a tragedy like this happens, so let's talk about it. Most recently, Anthony Bourdain killed himself. Now, if you don't know him by name, I'm sure that you've seen him around the internet. He was a writer, he made really cool videos for CNN, he traveled the world exploring food and culture, and he was just all around a really inspiring guy. Just 3 days before Kate Spade killed herself. Kate Spade was a fashion designer specifically known for handbags. Now, something to note before I go on, the more suicides are publicly announced, the more people kill themselves, so please watch out for your friends and family if there's anybody that has ever struggled with depression. Last year around this time there were 2 other nearly back-to-back celebrity suicides. Chester Bennington, who was the lead singer of Linkin Park, and Chris Cornell, who was the lead singer of Soundgarden. Black hole sun, won't you come? Now, each of these deaths, hit me pretty hard, honestly, because I watched Anthony Bourdain, I've shopped at Kate Spade, I've listened to Linkin Park and Soundgarden, I knew all of these people, and I admired their work. So for them to kill themselves, it hit me hard, it really did, as well as, I'm sure, thousands and thousands of other people. But the other day, I overheard people talking about, why would they do that? Why would these celebrities kill themselves? Don't they have it all? What do they have to be sad about? And it honestly made me so upset. And, I didn't say anything at the time because I just overheard, I didn't know the people talking. But I'm like, this is a video that needs to be made because I'm sure so many people are thinking the exact same thing. All right, so let's talk about mental illnesses. Mental illnesses, including depression, can affect anybody. And I know you hear that all the time, but you really need to let this sink in. It can affect any race, any ethnicity, any gender, people of all professions, people of all countries, the rich, the poor, literally anybody. It doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter where you came from, you could have a mental illness. The theory that celebrities are immune to mental illnesses is about as dumb as thinking they're immune to, breaking their arm. They're not immune to life. They're not immune to biology. Anything can happen. It doesn't matter how good of a life you have it. And I think the thing that trips people up is that they don't understand the difference between depression, the mental illness, and situational depression. Situational depression is something that we will all experience in our lives at some point. Maybe your wife left you and you're down in the dumps for 3 months and you don't want to get out of bed. That's situational depression. It's dependent on your wife leaving you. Another example would be the death of somebody in your family. You are going to be situationally depressed when somebody in your family dies. But depression as a mental illness is different. You could be having the best time of your life and still be depressed.
I've been super depressed out of nowhere. Right now, everything in my life is perfect.
So I think a lot of people have this illusion in their head that money and fame is gonna bring them some sort of happiness. Actually, I have everything I want or thought I wanted, but I don't feel happy.
Fame, money, success is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. This isn't a new thing. I mean, it's newly talked about, I would say. Maybe within the last decade or so, this is something that people are willing to speak up about, but this is not a new concept by any means. And celebrities have been speaking out for a very long time about their unhappiness. So for those of you that don't know, I have depression, or major depressive disorder. Basically what that means is I'm going to be in and out of depressive states probably my entire life. I can first pinpoint my depression starting at 12 years old. That's when most people will start feeling their depression if they're going to be depressed. Like depression, anxiety kind of set in around that age during puberty, but I just remember being really sad all the time, or sad was the best way that I could describe it. I wasn't diagnosed until 15 years old after I was diagnosed with ADHD. Looking back, like, it is very apparent that I had depression. Now let me just paint a picture for you guys, for those of you who haven't known me for years and years. When I was 12 years old, I was surrounded by friends and family. I have a completely normal, everyday, white, Midwestern family life. My family was well off. I went to Catholic school. My family took trips to Hawaii. I had a good life, and you know, I was living a really good childhood, other than my undiagnosed ADHD, but I was sad all the time. At least that's how I could best describe it. I remember around this age, I would try and talk to some of my friends about this. I never really went to my family, but I would talk to my friends and I would just say, hey, like, I'm sad all the time. And it didn't matter who I would talk to about this, like, they would all say the same thing. Why? And I would try to explain to them, like, I don't know. I just am. And they would be like, well, what do you have to be sad about? Your life is way better than mine. Like, your family has more money. Like, your family goes on more trips. You know, my parents are divorced. Like, these are the sort of things that people would say to me. They're like, what do you have to be sad about? You have it all. And I didn't know what to say. Everyone that I would talk to at that age said the same thing. And of course, none of us understood at that time. Even I didn't understand what depression was. I'm not mad at my friends for asking that question at that age, but what does make me mad is when adults ask that question, okay? Because you're an adult, you should understand how mental illnesses work by now. So many people don't, and it is so frustrating. So when I would talk to them and they would say, what do you have to be sad about? It makes you feel guilty. For those of you that don't know much about depression, you already feel guilty as when you're depressed. That's one of the main symptoms of depression, is feeling guilty all the time. This thought process that people who have it all couldn't possibly be depressed, like, it worsens people's depression. That's gonna stop you from going to people and telling them you're sad. You're not gonna wanna go to anybody. You're just gonna wanna sit there and take it and maybe end up killing yourself over it. These recent suicides are hard. These people had achieved ultimate success by my standard of the word, by my measurement of success. Everyone measures success differently, but to me, success is when nearly everybody knows your name, and when you create amazing things that inspire other people. All of these people did that. All of these people were extremely creative and extremely well known, and they all killed themselves. Growing up, I thought that if I could just achieve that level of success, I would be happy. That's before I fully understood mental illnesses and how they work, but I just thought, if I get to that level of success, my life will be good. And sometimes I still think that way. You know, I think I'll finally be happy, my life will be worth living, I'll have achieved success, I'll have done what I wanted to in my life, but that's not gonna rid me of my mental illness. My depression will always linger. I will always be in and out of states of depression, no matter how good I have it in life. That's something that just the everyday person needs to understand. It doesn't matter what that person is going through. It doesn't matter how good their life is. They can still be depressed. A life change is not gonna change that. You know, that's not how it works. Changing your hobbies, changing your job, moving, all of that is not going to help your depression. I mean, you might be happier in terms of your life, but if you have depression, it's not going to rid you of depression. Depression is biological, you know? It's not just a state in life that everybody will face at some point or another. Situational depression is, but depression, the mental illness, is biological. You cannot choose whether you're going to have depression. You cannot will yourself out of it. That's just how it is. And I think another thing to mention is nobody wants to be depressed. I don't understand why people are like, oh, like, what do they have, you know, to be depressed about? Like, as if they're asking to be that way. Like, nobody wants to feel depressed. It's not cute, it's not trendy, it's a mental illness. The belief that it's not real is ridiculous. Nobody would end their life if it wasn't real. People who do this are genuinely depressed no matter how good they have it. They can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. They can't see any way out of it. If you took away anything from this video, I hope it's obvious, but I hope that it's depression is not something that only certain people get. Anybody can get it, okay? It doesn't matter how good their life is. So stop acting like just because they have a better life than you that they should be happier than you, okay? So just have compassion. If you don't understand, then just shut your mouth. You don't need to go around talking about like, well, why did they kill themselves? you know, because you never know who's around you who's depressed and you know, has struggled with the same sort of thing. I'm not trying to kill myself. I don't want people to think that from this video, but just shut your damn mouth. Anyway, thank you so much for sitting through this little rant with me. I hope you got something out of it. Some of my videos are going to be this sort of deeper topic, this less upbeat topic, but there will be plenty of other more positive ones. There's certainly some on my channel right now, and I'm actually giving you guys a treat this week. I'm posting another video on Saturday of this week. It's part of a collab with one of my YouTube friends, and so there will be a video on Saturday on my channel. There will be a video on Friday, aka tomorrow, on his channel. So definitely be sure to check that out. And those are a bit more upbeat than this one was if you weren't feeling the vibe today. But I appreciate you watching this. I really do. Anyway, if you like this video, please subscribe. I'm gonna talk more about mental illnesses. I'm also gonna do some more story times, mukbangs, advice videos, all that kind of stuff. So, alright, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Why am I smiling? You might be wondering, because I'm nervous. Oh no, my septum was crooked the whole time. That's probably gonna be goddamn annoying. Oh well.